weaker people been like in any of these trips?
Well, it's the same as when I was in, would go into a bar, a restaurant, a coffee shop, whatever, and I would meet Spanish people, and you'd have a kind of broken conversation with them. It's no different.
I'm not so sure, but until you stick another aerial up in the sky, you don't really know whether or not what you got is doing.
The ESP138 ones are coming to you. You've got Dan in Hatfield, Steph in Hampstead, and Booker Dave from Wheat Hampstead.
Hi, welcome back. I want to start off with an apology if I'm not as enthusiastic and I'm not talking quite with such vigour as I normally do. I'm a few days outside hospital. I had some surgery in my mouth and it's all stitched up inside, and it's a little bit sore and I can't quite talk like I did before, but I'm getting there. Okay. The purpose of this video is to have a proper review of this Tef6686 stroke Si4732 radio. If you follow the channel, and thank you if you do, I did a show and tell on this, and I've done a few short little videos receiving on sideband, because this is a Tef radio that can now receive on sideband, and they're very clever the way they did it. They'll never really get the Tef chip, I don't think, to be able to decipher sideband, upper and lower sideband. So what they've done is they've fitted the Si4732 chip, which is what we've been seeing in a variety of Chinese radios. They've fitted it alongside the 6686, so you've got two radios in one for your money here, completely separate. Good solution? Yeah, it is. Perfect solution? No, it's not, and I'll show you why in the video. But let's just get it on the bench and have a closer look at it and compare it to the previous radios. Firstly, I have to say that all of these are what I would call enthusiasts radio. If you need to like tinkering with all of the menu options to get the best out of the radio. So the first one we had was the ATS120, a straightforward Si4732 chip which did upper and lower sideband. Slight issue with the battery life on this one. It doesn't seem to last as long. I think it's got quite a small battery in it, but other than that, decent size antenna, plastic VFO, nice alloy construction. It's not a bad little radio. Then came the ATS125, a completely different outlook now. We've now got the Tef6686 chip, so we do have broadcast shortwave on this one, but no upper and lower sideband. A better case than the AT120, again aluminium or alloy, very nicely constructed, metal turning pots. Didn't like what it did in this one though. We got tuning and we've got squelch, when I felt that should have been a volume control, because squelch isn't really any use to me. Again, very long, decent quality antenna. USB charge socket antenna in. Bluetooth on this one as well, so Bluetooth headphones and Bluetooth receive. No 3.5 jack for a pair of headphones, which was on the 120. So then we get the new radio. It's very similar, the case to the 125. Available in three colours. I chose the black because I found the silver, you couldn't really see the print very well, so I've got no problems with the print on this black radio. Again, very nice construction. I mean, I do think these are nicely made. However, a couple of things they haven't improved on, which kind of annoys me. We've still got the squelch pot, whereas I think that should be a volume or a RF gain control. You do have attenuation built into the software, but a volume or RF gain. Again, USB-C charge, again, antenna socket. It's on the bottom of the radio again. I don't think that's an ideal place to put it, because if you want to plug an antenna in, it's a 3.5mm jack. You obviously need a stand because the radio won't stand up. I think it would have been much better on the side there. But they've stuck with that. And then once again, there is no 3.5 headphone jack. Now I think that's a bit of a shame, and I want to get these negatives out of the way first, because this is a good radio, but I like to use radio headphones. So if you want to use headphones, you've only got the choice now of Bluetooth, which might be fine, but I would have liked both choices. But once we get that out of the way, again, very, very similar to the 125, a very nice colour screen. It is quite reflective though, but there is a lot of information going on here with the Tef chip. To change it into, we'll call it the sideband mode or the 4732, just a single press there. The radio switches off, the radio then comes back with a whole different menu system, a whole different radio. And this is the 4732. Now, I'm going to criticise it again. I've got to be honest with you. I don't want to like lead you down a garden path. I'm not all that happy with the colours. I think they're not the best colours. I do prefer the dark colour of the ATS120. It's so much easier to read. I have looked through here, but I haven't actually seen an option to change this, which would be nice if you could. With the Tef radio, you can change all of the background colours. You can have it, you can have it white on black, black on white. So we haven't got that with a 4732. So yeah, not 100% happy with those colour combinations. And then to change back, again, we just press it. It's so simple. And then we get the Tef boot up. We're back in the Tef side. Let's have a closer look at the screen, because there's a couple of menu options I need to show you. So I'm very lucky, of course, to have two radios and I can compare the menu system. It's a bit confusing. This is what you're going to be getting when you get the radio, and there's no instructions either. It's just a case of suck it and see, really. So what I want to do is go into display settings here, and then the very first option should change this into English. So it was that one, wasn't it? There you go, English. And then when I press mode and go back, everything now is the same. So yeah, a little bit tricky. Would be nice if they supply you with instructions just to show you how to get into that. So where this radio shines, it's a radio enthusiast dream, really. There are so many different settings here that you can play with. I mean, you can play with this to your heart's content. I won't show you everything because it would take up a whole video, but you've got your FM settings. Press mode to get back, AM settings. You've got all the display settings, and this is where you can change the colour of the display. Choose what parameters you want to show. I mean, it just goes on and on. It's like a little mini pocket computer. So that's the Tef side, which we've seen before. I will do some on-air testing in a moment. Let's have a quick look at the 4732 side. Once we're into the 4732 side of it, a little bit of a criticism is none of these function buttons work on the bottom here, including the up and down volume control. It's completely separate, which is a bit of a shame. You have got the volume control via the tuning encoder here. So if you push that, first one is your volume, and your second one is your squelch, and then back to tuning. As far as step rates go, you simply just touch the screen there to change the digit, which is fine, to be honest. It's probably the best way of tuning the radio. It does have memory presets, which I don't normally use myself, but I know people ask about those. I don't think you can download a program list though of stations and then put that onto the radio, not as far as I'm aware. So everything else other than the tuning pot is all on the touchscreen. Now it does have attenuation, RF gain if you like. It's not that strong. I have played with this on the on sideband, and I find that it doesn't really do a lot, to be perfectly honest. I would have liked to have seen this much stronger. So for myself, I just used the AGC. It is a little bit crashy. The 4732 is always the same, so when you've got a powerful local station coming in, it takes a little while for the AGC control to react. It's not very fast, so you get a That's always been a problem with the 4732 chip. I mean, it's not a Yaesu, obviously, but it works. So I just leave that on AGC. You do have some built-in bands to aid your tuning. So, for example, we go to the hand bands here. So these are all your standard hand bands. There is a CB band. I'll show you that in a moment. So dead easy, really. So if you go to 40 meters, for example, which is somewhere I like to listen to, it's quite good that once it takes you there, so you automatically 40 meters right at the bottom of the scale. This will be where the data's coming in, and instantly on lower sideband. So it does that for you. Next to that, you have another band select. This is mainly the shortwave bands, but it also covers CB band, 11 meters, and Airband. Now the Tef chip never, in my opinion, was never any good at Airband. So I'll be testing this to see if we can actually receive Airband. If you go to CB, it'll probably go back to my 305, I would have thought. So this is 11 meters, there you go. So straight into 305, and I was in upper sideband. It does have a BFO control, and with the 4732, I do find that you need it as well. When you're tuning into a station for the first time, it tends to be a little high, a little bit low. So as you can see, I was on minus 400 for the 305. Pretty easy to do. I mean, once you've got it adjusted, it doesn't drift, it tends to hold it. But you do sort of have to go through that process. I mean, you don't have to use the BFO. You can just use the fine tune by using that on the frequency, if that's what you prefer. But the BFO does work. The rest of it, pretty simple, really. All your bandwidths that you're going to use, 2.2s that I use for sideband, obviously going up to 4 for AM. Maybe would have been nice if it had gone up to 6, because some of the AM stations that are powerful, you can normally use a slightly higher bandwidth to get a slightly better quality. But 4, to be fair, 4 is absolutely fine. You've got modes there to change the different modes. And we're going to next. So this is basically your scanning. So you've got a simple up and down scan, or just a scan button. You do have a squelch control, which I don't use. It says light. I'm not sure what that is. Is it? I've got no idea. So I'm looking for no idea what that is. I don't know if that's background brightness. It doesn't seem to. I'm not seeing any change. No, not sure what that does. Information, yeah, basic information about the firmware and the chip and everything else, if you're interested into that. Then you've got setup. Now it's a very basic setup menu. I'm a little disappointed with this, really. There is some good settings there, but I would have liked to have seen a background change here. This is where I'd like to have lost the background, and also some of this wording rolls into each other. It's not like here, FM, that bleeds over there. It's all right. It's a bit clunky. It needs a little bit of work in the firmware, but so you've got a lot of settings there. You can play around with them if you like. I think the only ones that interest me, you can change the screen from a vertical screen to a horizontal, and that might be important because you might need to lay this over there to plug in your external antenna, which again, if it had been on the side, that would not be a problem. Also, you've got your Bluetooth settings here as well. This will do headphones and also a Bluetooth speaker. Bright display power, I'm not quite sure what that is. A bit reluctant to change any of this at the moment, and that's exit. So yeah, that's just an overview really. Then it's as I say, it's quite basic. It does work though, to be fair. So I think what we need to do now is go back to the Tef chip, and then got no headphone socket, so I'll connect my microphone. I'll put it close to the speaker, so you'll hear what the speaker sounds like, and then we'll just have a little listen to the radio on air.
Want to die, asking where I would have got to and how high, so our lives are hard. And yeah, you know we got the scars. I'm gonna show my skills in your conservatoire.
Huh? You meant to be in college. Speaker, loud, speakerphone.
Conservator?
Ocean, little way you lay me down.
2:30.
Radio 1.
Newsbeat. A helicopter ride, red carpet, horse-drawn carriage, and a bit of this.
Chapel there this afternoon and a state banquet this evening. Protests against the visit are taking place in central London. The Technology Secretary Liz Kendall insists on a gift
when Gordon Brown visited President Obama, which was a pencil holder carved from the wood from HMS Gannet, which was an anti-slavery ship in the 19th century. Did a lot of work, a lot of commission.
Singer, producer AJ Tracy. Good afternoon, AJ. How are you?
How you doing?
Good. I got to say, I really enjoyed your series with your cousin.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
Richie, was it?
Yeah.
Simon and Jordan have got you covered.
Richie's shirt off in absolute delight.
It's your essential Friday morning roundup.
Don't go. Where are you going? Isn't that just jungle?
Your chai, better? What you have there?
Nothing, just some papers, Bibi. What does Tumar Dada England Chow mean?
I
think I should feel connected, but I'm not feeling anything.
You don't like your home?
My home's Bradford, England, you know. Cheeky Nando's, going towns, going Odeon, getting taxed on the post if you end up in the wrong end. You get me?
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, yeah, but...
Dongbei, the northeast of China, is very close to Mongolia and Inner Mongolia, but back in those days they were all Mongolians. So they've influenced the language. The far west of Xinjiang and the far east of Dongbei, Shenyang and Xinjiang have a common language.
平台和人才政策吸引更多的新生力量，为家乡培养出更多的农业科技。
我的燕麦产业在吉林一定会有着广阔的未来。
По-моему, китаец, которого звали Цайлун. Это было более 2000 лет назад.
Да, ты прав.
And I just took a 4 or 5 hour walk. I walked 16,000 steps that day, just mostly walking through Lhasa, and I kind of bumped into 2 different mosques, and I got video evidence of this, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know there were Muslims in Tibet. Normal buildings, they may have an ornate door. It's a little bit harder to spot them, but you know, it's probably a little like in some places in Europe you can't see the churches. They're just normal buildings. Presbyterian churches are just normal buildings, and they don't do anything flash or fancy with them. But they
want half-wave antenna. Okay, no problem. All right, we'll try again. Hopefully we can get someone to you there, Carl. Put another call out. X3, Greenford, no, I don't know. Yeah, no one's taking you at the moment, Carl. I don't know if your antenna's really low, but you're really low to me as well there. But I am getting you about a Radio 3, Carl.
Good for you. But if this is an Indian holiday, are you still allowed to take the holidays in the UK, Ua?
I'm living in the UK, so that is not applicable in this country.
Ja, das kann auch was reingekabbelt sein. Das ist so der Klassiker bei den Dingen, zum Beispiel Spinnen oder so, durch die Entwässerungslöcher.
Radio 3, Борис, сейчас я антенну подверну, будет получше. То так что-то вообще плохо.
A politician once said, trouble with socialism is you soon run out of other people's money, don't you?
What's he going to do? I didn't realise I was on a horizontal antenna, a long wire horizontal antenna, and I was receiving it good, but with not much of a signal. I was listening to, there wasn't many people on last night, so I was listening to other bands on my long wire there, Steph.
Yeah, it just shows you, doesn't it? The polarisation is, it's crucial, isn't it?
вас за внимание.
Передача из Пекина окончена. До свидания.
Well, I can't get it to scan on the Airband. I've turned the squelch up, but it's not scanning. So it's a bit of a foul as far as an Airband scanner goes. A shame, but if it won't scan, it won't work. I just want to look at how to save a memory into the radio here. A few of you have asked this on the comments. Some of you have said, has it got an intelligent function where you can download a radio station playlist, for example? I haven't seen that. I think that's only really internet radio, to be honest. Someone else asked, does it save the radio station name? Does it pick it up from the RDS information? No, it doesn't. It is quite basic. It does work. Let me just quickly show you. You've got 100 presets per band. So firstly, we just need to go into memory there. And then, for example, we want to save classic FM. We press enter. And then we just touch the tune button here. And we can choose which channel we want. We've already got that on channel 1. So, for example, there, channel 2. Enter again. That's on channel 2. To get back to that, just click on there, and these will be where you go through your memories. So memory 1, load. It's the same station, obviously. And back there. So yeah, it's pretty basic. It's 100 per band, but it does work. And obviously, once you're on the memory setting there, you can just turn through. These are all the memory stations. I haven't really saved any. Pretty easy to use, but it's not an intelligent memory system. I hope that answers some of the questions. There we go. Trying to bring this to a conclusion. This is actually quite tough because this is so unique. I've never had a radio like this in the shack before, with the Tef and the 4732. I mean, it's quite easy to compare one to the other, but when you've got both chips in one radio, when you hit a problem with one chip, well, it's just press a button, don't you? Press a button. And then the radio reboots, and then you've got the other chip. So is there really any weaknesses? Well, yeah, I think there are. Strengths-wise, I mean, the Tef chip on FM is absolutely superb. I've not had anything up here in the shack that can touch it. It just boosts weak signals, and it rejects so much interference on FM. It's absolutely lovely. I wish the radio had a 3.5mm headphone jack, so I could put some decent corded headphones. I've got Bluetooth headphones, but I prefer to use corded headphones. That is a weakness. It does need that 3.5mm jack. The 4732, it works okay on FM, but as it was raining, I tested it indoors with the antenna extended, and it just didn't have the amplification built in to boost those radio signals, so it just wasn't as clear. It was getting a lot of interference. I think medium wave, the 4732, did really, really well. It's got a very nice clarity on medium wave, and I think it outperforms the Tef chip, to be honest, on medium wave. Broadcast shortwave, well, you heard yourself. I think the Tef may have the advantage. The 4732 is okay, but it does tend to bring in a little bit more interference. I'd probably choose the Tef for broadcast. And of course, when we get onto sideband and the ham bands, the Tef chip can't go there. It just hasn't got it, unfortunately. I don't know if it ever will. But then you switch over to the 4732, and as long as you use the BFO, once you've got the station clarified in 40 meters and certainly CB frequencies, as you heard, upper and lower sideband, it works acceptably well for what is basically a cheap radio receiver. So there it is. Criticisms aren't really many at this price. I don't like the antenna socket in the bottom of the radio. I find that awkward. It should be in the side, or maybe at the top. And I also don't like the squelch control here. Tuner, that should be volume and tune. There's no point in having a squelch. I don't use it. And even when I tried to use the squelch on both chips, the Airband didn't work. So I couldn't get to scan the Airband. And if it doesn't work first time on the review, I'm not going to try and make it work. It has to work first time, otherwise you guys are going to be disappointed. So I think that's the end of the review. I mean, it's a nice quality unit. It's about £80 at the moment. I suspect it will drop a little bit over the next few weeks. It's quite popular. It's a new product at the moment. And I think it's a nicely made radio. I hope the review has been interesting to you. I've tried to show you both the strengths and the weaknesses on the radio. I try and be as honest as I can on this channel. Obviously this was sent in as a free sample, but I don't try and gloss over the faults on the radio. You get to see everything. If you're interested in this radio, there is a link in the description. A few people have come back on some of the videos and saying, oh Fred, you know, I can't find it, or it's another £30–40 more. No, please use the link in the description from Banggood and you'll see I've got a discount code. It won't work in every country, unfortunately. It will definitely work in the UK. If you live in India or Germany, it might not work for your country. I apologise, but that's what they give me. But if you use the discount code, you'll get a little bit of money off. It's also free postage because it's over 40 quid on Banggood. So you get it down in the 70s, 70 odd pounds. That's it. As always, thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate your view times. Thumbs up from Fred in the Shed. Also, if you get a second, it just takes you a second. Just flick me a thumbs up down below. I know I'm doing the right thing then. I know you're watching and enjoying the videos. Please, please, please look after each other. Stay safe. And of course, I'll catch you all on the next video. Cheers, guys.
Fred's in the shed where the magic unfolds. Fred in the shed with his trusty CB. He's a friend to the lonely on a frequency.